My scripture reading is taken from the book of Matthew's 22nd chapter, 34th through the 40th verse. But when the Pharisees had heard that he had put the Sadducees to silence, meaning Jesus, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was a lawyer, asked him a question, asking Jesus, tempting him and saying, Master, which is the greatest or the great commandment in the law? And Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And such is the reading. Matthew's 22nd chapter, 34th through the 40th verse. Again, I say to you, good morning. You know, as we move into this new year, this time of new beginning, thinking, these two commandments we should truly take into the very depths of our being. First and foremost, love thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul. Everything that you are, God should be first. And I've spoken many times in reference, as the scripture states, seek ye first the kingdom and its righteousness, or his righteousness, and all things shall be added. God should be your number one priority. Now, I know I'm going to step on some toes when I say this, as I've said it in the past. I might even hurt some feelings, but I'm only sharing with you what the scripture states. God, with all your heart, mind, body, and soul. That makes God number one in your life. That doesn't make anybody or anything else number one. God is first in your life. And when the scripture states love God with all thy body, mind, heart, and soul, and everything that you have within you, and the second one is love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, what does this mean? Loving thy neighbor. You know, so many folks don't give a hoot or a tutti frutti about their neighbor. There's always something that they can look and see and feel about their neighbors that they don't like. But that's not what the scripture states. It says, love thy neighbor as thyself. With the same love that you have for yourself, you should have for your neighbor. Well, I know some say, I don't like, I don't care, because the neighbor did this and the neighbor did that. Why should I love someone that has done all of these negative and bad things to me. Well, let me tell you something. If you can't love your neighbor as thyself or yourself, then something is missing. Something is missing within you. Because the love that you have within yourself, if you can't have it for your neighbors, then something is missing within you. There is a percentage that's missing. You see, to know God and to do the will of God and to live the life, the love has to be 100%. Can't straddle the fence. You can't say, I love this person, I hate this one. I love this person, don't like that one. You can't straddle the fence. Because when you divide the love, there's a part of you that's basically loving, and there's another part of you that is hating. And that doesn't make for a good combination. And if the old folks would say, that doesn't get you into heaven. You have to be 100%. You can't be 99 and a half or 99 and three quarters. You have to be 100%. Now, let us take this a little deeper. We judge people according to the external, what we see about those people. We judge them according to their looks. We judge them according to the things that they say. But we don't look beyond the external to the internal and recognize that within that which is manifesting, there is that divine spark, or there is that spirit, that consciousness of God. We want to be judge and jury and prosecutor. That's not our responsibility. That belongs to God. We are asked to love. And the greatest power in the world, understand this now, is not about the atom bombs and all of the atomic bombs and things of that nature that causes so much destruction. The greatest power is not that which man thinks he wields in his environment. The greatest power in all the world is love. Love heals. Love builds. Love transforms. And love lifts us up. You see, when you're sick and you go to the doctor and you want to be healed or cured, it is not so much of the method that he uses, but it's the love that he put into that which he is doing. You see, when you go into the field of medicine, there is a desire or love to help people. If there was no one that was concerned about what it is that you're going through, we would be stuck lost. If we had problems and there was no one that was willing to listen and to help us to see the other side of the problem or to help us through the problem, we would be so overburdened that we would just throw up our hands. And for the lack of a better word or a better way of saying it, die. Because the burden would be too much for us to handle. Can't see any way out. There's no daylight. But when we ignite that light of love within us and let it shine, let it radiate, let it blossom within us, not only is it a healing balm to us, but to all of life. You must remember, as the scripture states, love thy neighbor doesn't necessarily mean your next door neighbor, but it means all of life. Anyone or anything outside of us is our neighbor. Now, I know we start to categorize things, our children, our uncles and aunts, and cousins and nephews, and they're all our neighbors. They're all outside of the physical existence that we are. They are our neighbors, your children. Not necessarily the people that live next door around the corner on the same block, but your neighbors are those that are external to you. You see, your cats, your dogs, and your pigs, and your chickens, and everything, they are your neighbors. And within those cats, dogs, animals, chickens, whatever, is the divine spark of the life of God, the Spirit of God. So we must learn to love all of life because the consciousness and the Spirit of God is in all of life. So when we go through life asking, and you have to understand this, when we go down and pray and we're asking God to bless us with this and bless us with that, and we're asking God to do this for us and do that for us, we find it so difficult to live by the first commandment. Love thy God with all thy heart, body, mind, and soul. See, we can love everything else, and we put God on the back burner. We can love everything else, but we put God on the back burner. And the one thing that we have, the masses, is the love of money. We put money before God, but we fail to realize that the spirit and the consciousness of God is responsible for the money that we have, for the homes that we live in, for the cars that we drive. Well, I shouldn't say cars, but the automobiles that we drive, for the places of employment. It is because of God. And if it was no God, then there would be no you, no me, no car, no money, no job, no nothing. So why is it so difficult to turn to the source that is responsible for all that there is and for all that we have? You see, without the life of God within your body, functioning in and through your mind, you wouldn't be. You wouldn't have a thing. In fact, there would be no you. You would not be able to enjoy or to have the things that you're having. Sickness is not of God. Sickness is not of God. It is that which we have created within ourselves by the misuse of the power or the consciousness or the spirit that is within us. You see, God is not a God of sickness. God is not a God of poverty. God is not a God of all of these negative and unwanted conditions that we experience. It is what we have created and brought upon ourselves. But yet at some point we want to blame God. God, why did you allow this to happen to me? God, why did you bring this type of situation into my life? It's all God, why did you? God, why did you? Why God, why did you? Well, if you start doing the things that you are supposed to do in recognizing the source that is within you, you will cease to blame God for the things that fall upon you. God gave us life. Do you think God gave us life to suffer, to experience poverty, unhappiness? No. Those are the things that we created within ourselves, the things that we attracted to ourselves. And the one thing, and the hardest thing for us to do is to take responsibilities for our own shortcomings. First thing we say, well, why would I do that to myself? Somebody else did it to me. Why would I do such a thing to myself? Well, in the misuse of your thinking and in the misuse of the power of I am, which is the source within you, has brought about these things. And you know, there's an old saying, whatever negative thing befalls you, whatever it is that falls down on you that you don't want, God can't take it away from you. You brought these things on yourself, and only you can remove them. Only you can remove them. And Jesus made a statement to his disciples, to the multitude of people that came to listen, to be taught. Jesus said, physician, heal thyself. And what Jesus was saying and what he meant Whatever it is that we are going through, whatever it is that we have brought upon ourselves that is contrary to the things of God, we have the power to remove those things. We have the power. Now, I'm not going to say that if you got some issues that you need to go to the doctor and have those things addressed, looked at, and diagnosed, then do so. So then you know what it is that you have to work on within yourself. But we must also understand that the doctors does not cure. The doctors just treats the effects. We are responsible for the cause because it is that which we have created within ourselves. I'm going to say this. Some people going to say, well, I don't know about that. Nothing falls down out of the sky on us and in us that causes us to suffer. To be sick, and to experience all types of things that are contrary to what we want to experience as being good. Now, I know with all this stuff that's going around, we open ourselves up to, and then we allow the immune system become so weak that a lot of things the body is not strong enough, in a sense, as they said, to fight off. But I do believe with every fiber of my being that if we stay grounded and rooted in the consciousness and the Spirit of God, there is nothing to fear. There is nothing that can harm us. But we must be able to love. That's the key. Love is a healing power. Love is the power that changes all things. And for the mothers out there, and a few fathers, it is by love that you brought forth life into this world. It is by love that we came into this world. And so that which is responsible for our being, that energy and vibration that created us, is that which we must continue to send forth into the world. Love is the key to the joy, the happiness, the abundance, and prosperity of life. And mothers and fathers, when we bring these children into the world, we try to teach them the right things to do. That's love. You do this and you live like this, you won't have to worry. Life will be good to you. Respect your neighbors, respect your elders. Have gratitude and appreciation for everything that God has blessed you with. You ever notice people that walk around that don't have anything, always complaining? Well, that shows that they don't have love within them. But if they learn to appreciate and to love the life that is within their physical bodies, that is responsible for their being, then the whole world or the whole order of life will take on a new meaning. And the doors will open. You've heard me say in the past about folks living in the country. Never seen this happen. Well, I guess in the city too, some parts. That at night in the country, if you turn an outside light on, it attracts all types of bugs. That light represents love. It represents life. And so if we can take an artificial light and turn it on in the dark and attract all types of bugs and insects to us, think what it will do when we ignite or turn on the light within us. Think of the multitude of people that it will attract to us. And that light is the spiritual light. It is the light of understanding. It is the light of love. But we must turn on within ourselves. Did not Jesus say, "You are the light of the world"? That's the key to everything. No one is attracted to the darkness. Well, let me say, I take that back because there's some folks that don't like to work in the darkness, and you know those type of people. They doing everything that they shouldn't be doing. They worship the darkness. There's an old story, old movie that we used to watch years ago called Count Dracula. He did all of his work at night in the darkness. Soon as the daylight shine or a little ray of sun, he had to flee from the light. But you got people just like that. Don't want to be in the light of love. Don't want to be in the light of God. Don't want to be in the light of life. And they lurk in the darkness, seeking to devour or to take advantage of those that are seeking to find the light, the way out of the darkness and the shadows of life. So as spiritual beings upon this path, the new beginning, as we say, the new year, but let it be a new beginning in your consciousness. Let it be a new beginning in your life. Let it be a new beginning wherein you can open wide your hearts and to love one another, regardless of who they are, what they are, or where they are. We're all children of the one source called God. You see, you don't have to be maternal parents to raise children or to raise the consciousness of others. In fact, you don't even have to come in contact with people. But when you sit in your meditation and open yourself up to the light that is within you, to that God consciousness within you, and send it forth out into the world to every man, woman, and child, you're then loving your neighbors. And many of those that you send forth the love and the light to, you will never meet in this physical life. But that spiritual part of you that is truly a part of them will always be one. So what it is that you're doing for your fellow man, you are also doing for yourself. Because we're all one. We all one consciousness, one spirit, one life, and one light. We have come as angels of light to light the path of those that walk in darkness. We have come to lift up our brothers and to assist our sisters, not to push them down, not to walk all over top of them. We have come to lift them up. Just as the teachings and the light of all the great enlightened souls that came before us, they came, shared, and gave to us that wisdom, that understanding, that love, and that light that would lift us out of the darkness so that we could be a beacon of light for those that are trying or seeking their way out of the shadows and the darkness of the world. This we have come. And so, as it is said, if there is something to be said of a New Year's resolution, let it be a new beginning as to how we look out at the world, as to how we see our brothers and sisters, as to how we see it and appreciate all of life, because we are all one. The consciousness of God is manifesting and expressing in many different shapes, sizes, and forms and colors. The first commandment and the greatest: love thy God with all thy heart, body, mind, and soul. And the second, love thy neighbor as thyself. Because in essence, it's all one. What you do to another, you do to yourself. And as the old saying goes, we've heard it many times, what goes around comes around. And that is because we are all one. One consciousness, one spirit, one life. Manifesting and expressing in many different shapes, sizes, and forms. I say to you, the new beginning, as many have said, the new year. Blessings upon you. Blessings upon all that you are part of and connected to. And know that every day of your life, for as long as you are in physical form, is a day of new beginning. And so it is. Blessings unto you.